Yo, what's up? My name is Madison, and I'm going to show you how I've made over $5 million in coaching internationally around the globe. Reason why would I show you this? I don't know. I just thought, you know what? I got to show you exactly how to do it. If I don't show you the proof is in the pudding, then you're never going to believe it for yourself. So many people online are like, buy my Amazon course for dropshipping, buy my Shopify course, buy my investing course. And if you don't know me, you don't know that I'm the real shit. Okay, you don't know that I'm legit. All right, so I gotta show you the real deal here and break this down to you so that you know that it's possible for you too. And I'll show you exactly how I did it. And yeah, that's my reason for doing it. And I'm also really excited about making an impact in the world. My thought process is if I show you this, what I'm gonna show you here right now today, you'll be able to go out and help and inspire others the same way I've been able to do that for a while. And I've made a living off of it, and I also enjoyed it. And it's all about paying it forward so you're also able to impact the world and make a difference to those around you. It's multiplying that amazing output of helping people. So I want to help you to help other people. Now, all this comes from my Influence Mastery course for coaches, but I'm showing this to you absolutely free. You could figure this all out if you wanted to. It would just take you probably half a decade to 10 years to figure it out. What I'm about to explain to you in this video. You don't need to buy my course. You can buy it if you'd like to. And of course, if you want extra help, you can get the mentoring that goes along with it, where we actually guide you by the hand through all this regarding yourself as a coach, consultant, as a entrepreneur, or somebody who does information coaching. The other reason I'm showing this to you is I believe that we live in a thank you economy. So that's the idea that if I help you with something and you get a lot of value from it, it will change your life and the life of people around you. You'll see the result of it. And then you'll be like, yo, I got to go do this for myself. I got to try this out for myself and get in touch with this guy. So I'm going to help you with pure value here, and in the hopes, selfishly, that it will also help myself in the future. And of course, that you pass this information along to somebody else. So we're going to talk about why I think most people fail when it comes to having a coaching business, a consulting business, being an infopreneur, an entrepreneur, just services, whatever in general, influencing people, being a leader. Why do they fail? Where do they fail along this journey? We're going to talk about that. And what are the common beliefs, skill sets they're missing, what are the talents they're missing, just the abilities that they're missing, etc. Okay? So what's the biggest problem? Basically, that stops them from going to the next level. And this came to me because I was talking to a friend of mine who's a coach as well, and she was having a lot of trouble, and I know where she is in the journey, but she has no idea where she is, right? So I thought about how to pragmatically break this down to a timeline, and you're gonna see a fishbone. It's called the fishbone decision-making tree. And whenever I have tough decisions in my life, I either go to it's called a decision-making matrix. I go to a fishbone. I go to a pros and cons. I go to a weighted scale model. I go to a self-interest model, and I try to figure out like why is something not working. So I'm gonna break down here what happens exactly on that path to making 5 figures a month in coaching and helping other people, and then when you want to get to 6 figures, hit me up, all right? So the first thing I noticed is people don't know who they want to help. They're not sure who that person is. Like, what's the problem of the person you're trying to help? What are they going through in their life? What are the challenges they're having? What's the specific niche of person you're trying to help, right? Like, if you don't know who that person is, everything else fails. If you're like, I want to help people with mental health, but I also want to help people with spinal injuries, but I also want to help people that are athletes, but I also want to help the youth. It's like, who are you trying to help? And that being unclear in that area will dramatically hold you back. When you try to serve all masters, you end up serving no masters, and that's not a solution that helps anybody, right? You end up just kind of like in the middle, stuck between not being really clear with anything, and you end up being nothing to nobody. The other part comes down to the mindsets and beliefs here. This area is knowing your worth. A lot of people don't believe that they are worth what they could be asking, right? I remember the first time I got on stage, I had a hard time closing because I believe closing was like persuading somebody to do something they don't want to do or manipulating them. But really, closing in a lot of ways can be helping somebody to get out of their own way to solve a problem that they came to see you about. You know, if you don't close somebody and you have a great amount of value to offer them, they go around, they mess with somebody else, and they make a mistake going to somebody else maybe inferior, but they were able to close the situation, right? So you end up just doubting yourself and not being able to ask the value that you provide for your time and your services and your experience and all that. So you got to know your worth a lot of the time. If you don't, this is like just sinks into more limiting beliefs of who you think you are, and your mindset's just all messed up, and you're not passionate about what you can do. I mean, if you were passionate about what you actually want to provide and help to the world and your mission and your legacy, then that would change your mindset, and that would impact knowing your worth, right? Because if you have a dream and you're following that dream and you're pursuing your purpose as a human being, then why would you not know your worth? But a lot of times the initial mindset of not knowing their worth or not knowing who they want to help stops people from being able to be clear in their mission statement and what they stand for, right? If you don't have a mission statement and stand for something and you're doing this for a reason, I think a general audience or person can tell, and you end up just beating your head on a rock, not going anywhere, not being able to help anybody. So next thing I notice here is a coaching skill set. Some people don't actually have the ability to move people along. Coaching could be like, for example, just motivating somebody to take action. That is a form of coaching. It could be showing somebody what to do. That's a form of coaching. It could be informing them. But I believe the highest level of coaching is transformations, where you transform people and where they are in their life and get them a desired result in the personality or an outcome. The biggest mistake that people make when it comes to coaching is they think motivation is the highest level of coaching, but it's not. It's actually the lowest. You can motivate somebody till the cows come home, and that will only stick for about a few days or a week, and then it's gone. So motivation is not the highest form of coaching. The highest form of coaching is actually influence. Being able to agree with somebody, persuade them, influence them, show them that there's a win-win on the other side of a situation here, getting them excited about it, holding them accountable. Just the skills of influence, dominance, leadership, all these influence skills eventually add up and allow you to really persuade somebody when coaching them. A master coach is able to even have somebody arrive at the answers without telling the student the answers. It's kind of like, you ever watch the movie The Karate Kid, where Mr. Miyagi is doing this and the kid is doing this. He's like, what am I doing? He's like, wax on, wax off, and then all of a sudden he knows kung fu. It's the same thing, or karate actually. At the end of it, it's the same thing, right? You're leading the student to the answers without the student knowing that you're leading them to the answer. It's kind of like an inception. And that is the highest form of coaching, when the student gets to the answer by themselves. That is influence. If you can't influence people properly in the moment, you can't create immediate change, and they're not going to come back for more or even listen to you. All right. Next thing is a skills mismatch. Maybe they don't have the skills to actually do what they're teaching. Like, a lot of the times you think, well, I got to be a master level skill set. Well, that's not true. You just have to have a skill set that is a little bit better than who you're trying to teach, to allow them to get to the level they want to be at. If somebody's trying to get to intermediate, you just got to be intermediate and they're a novice. If somebody's trying to get to an advanced, you just got to be advanced and they're intermediate. It's going to be slightly advanced from where they are. But you got to have that right skill set for teaching people in the who you want to help. See, it all goes backwards. You got to have the right skill set to match who you're trying to help, and the right skill set to match your vision. Next thing is building a tribe. This is where people mostly get stuck. They're like, well, I don't have an audience. I don't have a large following. I need a large following, etc. And that's not the truth. There's an article written a long time ago that was called 1,000 True Fans. And that means is if you have 1,000 people that love what you do, they're ambassadors of it, they're just passionate about it, they can't get enough of it, they spread it all around to people, they tell people about it, they're excited about it, they preach about you. If you have 1,000 people like that, then you would have a business. Because if you have 1,000 people like that, and you have a program that costs maybe $100, what's 100 times 1,000, right? Now do that every single year. That adds up, right? Or if they're repeating clients, that adds up. So you don't even need 1,000 clients per year, but you need 1,000 people that love you. Now, do you have 1,000 followers? True. Okay. But they're not a tribe. This is the problem. This is where you're missing out. You have 1,000 followers, but are people that like you or that you have in your social circle or your network, possibly. If you ask somebody, could you refer me to somebody that has the problem I'm trying to help? They could probably do it. So you have 1,000 people, but you don't know how to build a tribe. And that's because you don't have the right content. You have content that maybe shows your butt on Instagram, or you have content that like gives out a tip, or you have content that like, you know, maybe talks about something, but it doesn't build a tribe. It doesn't build a movement. It doesn't build an idea, a system of things that people all believe in. You know, when it comes to a tribe, it's got to be something that they can aspire to be and something that they're fighting against. And if you don't have that, then you don't have a tribe. You just have a one-time viewer, but you don't have something bigger than yourself, you know? You also probably don't know how to build trust, because if you know how to build trust with someone, then you have a tribe. You know, people, they say that the expression is people have to know, like, and trust you. Well, they might know you because you have a little bit of a following. You post some interesting stuff every once in a while, but do they like you and do they trust you, right? This is why you see so many YouTubers with vanity metrics. They have, you know, 500,000 followers, 1 million followers, and they're selling t-shirts, and that's all they can sell because people know them. They like their comedy sketches, but they don't like them and trust them, which is a completely different level you got to get to. So you got to know how to build that trust and respect with the audience to build a tribe. Make sense? Next one, moving along, offers in a program. So you have a boring offer that no one is dying to buy. So you're offering something that they don't even want, right? What is a good offer? Well, it's got to save me time. It's got to save me money. And it's got to make it easier for me. And I got to believe that you can get me that result. If I don't believe that you can get me that result, then I'm not going to buy it. Okay? Maybe the audience doesn't trust you are capable of getting them that result. Maybe you got to focus on the skills that you're really good at. Maybe you got to focus on proving that you can get it. And maybe the audience doesn't trust that you can get them that the result. They don't trust in themselves because they know they're a quitter. They know that they backed down on the past and they haven't fully went all in, so they don't even trust themselves anymore, right? So if you have an audience like that, then how could you offer them something? Well, the offer has to solve all that. The offer has to be believable. It has to be like, yeah, what we're gonna do here is gonna be easy for you. I can do it for you. This is how I guarantee that I'm going to get you there. This is the leverage I'm going to provide. This is how much of an influence I'm going to provide to get you there. This is how it's going to save you time, save you money, right? And this is an irresistible conclusion where you get to together. And once you have an offer like that, then you have a real offer that people are dying to buy versus an offer you're trying to sell. I think selling is stupid. I think selling is whack. I think selling is really just pushing stuff nobody wants. But when you have an offer that's a really great offer, that's irresistible, then that's incredible. I mean, myself, I think there was a period just last year where I did about $400,000 in a period of about 3 months. That was an irresistible offer. Okay, once the offer is really, really good, it's magnetic, it draws people in, and then you don't even have to really sell it all that much. Of the offer is just that delicious and tasty and mouth-watering. People are just dying to get it. The challenge that you might have is you don't know how to create life-changing content. You might solve a problem that's not big enough. You might solve a little problem. Life-changing content has to give people a result. It has to be something they can apply instantly and see a result. You know, back when we did dating advice, there was something by a guy called David D'Angelo, and he invented something called cocky funny, which is kind of like this being hilarious and cocky at the same time. When talking to somebody, you create attraction. That was beautiful because somebody can go and try it that day after understanding the concept for 5 minutes and see a result right away, right? So that would make you really like buy into it. And life-changing content, you have to put it out regularly, and your offer has to have that life-changing content, and the programs and the free content you put out has to have that life-changing content. You got to actually make change, right? It has to be a big enough change in them that they're seeing the results and they're also seeing the reason they should stick with it. If you don't do that, then your program, your offer are going to be pretty much garbage. We don't need more garbage in the world. There's so much. I get like inundated with it on Instagram and on Facebook and on YouTube, and I'm sure you do too. All right, next thing is converting the clients. People make the mistake of sometimes putting this first. They think that like, let me just try to convert people, but they haven't worked on their mindset and haven't worked on an offer yet. You can even skip building a tribe. You can go straight to converting clients, but you got to build up your mindset and your offer first, right? Now, converting clients, is that manipulating? Is that sneaking? Is that selling? Is it like, what is that? And why do you feel at it? Well, I believe converting somebody is just helping them to do what they already want to do. Converting someone is just getting them to where they want to be. They realize there's a problem, and they realize they need to fix it, they realize it's urgent, then you get them to that solution and say how you guys can do this as a relationship together. You don't sell somebody. You say, now we have a relationship. Here's how we're going to solve your problem together. You don't sell anybody. You say, I understand your problem. I'm going to help you through it. Here's how we can get through it. It's a relationship. You're building relationships with people. It's not about the sales, it's about the relationship that you and that person are going to have walking through this process, okay? So the challenge that you might have is you don't know how to solve a real problem or explain what the problem is. Maybe you know what the problem is, but maybe it's small. Okay, let's get a real problem now. What's a real problem? Weight loss and smoking. Okay, we got a real problem. All right, explain how you're gonna solve it. And explain it to me exactly what that process is, what it's gonna look like, how it's gonna feel for me. What about when I lose motivation? What are you gonna do when I lose hope? What are you gonna do when I don't wanna do it anymore? Like, how are you gonna make sure I'm accountable? How are you gonna make this exciting? Because I quit in the past, right? Explain the problem. Explain how it's gonna be solved. Explain how it's gonna, explain it deeply to my soul. Show me that you understand it. Show me you speak my language. Use the words that I use. If you don't do this, then the person cannot believe it to their deepest soul and their core. You have to know how to solve a real problem and then be able to explain that. And the better you are at articulating this in a long conversation, the better you will be. Converting clients really comes from conversations. It doesn't come from the ad that gets people in, or maybe a video gets people in, but all client relationships take place at a conversation. That is the fundamental level. And if you have a conversation, that's where the change occurs. That's where the commitment happens. That's where people get resourceful and they find ways to make it happen, okay? But you got to have conversation. And now the other one is, you might have just lack of pure skill. Maybe it's just skills you're missing. You don't even know that you're lacking these skills. Copywriting, gotta know copywriting. Gotta get some basic copywriting skills down. If you don't know copywriting, I have it in my program, okay? So don't even worry about that if you don't have it. But if you don't have the skills of being able to write emotionally grabbing text, then you're at a disadvantage. People make millions of dollars a year just from being able to copyright. You don't know how to ask for this sale. Maybe you feel like you're not worthy of it, or you just kind of scoot over it. You don't bring it up. You're not able to relate to the issues of the client. You're making the client wrong all the time. You're blaming them for their misfalls, for their lack of accountability, for them failing in the past. You make them feel guilty for even showing up to the call. Like, if you make an appointment to call somebody and you make them feel guilty, they will not pick up a second call. They will flake on you. So a good coach never makes the student guilty, but they do find a way to hold the student accountable, right? Maybe you don't make it easy to do the right thing. Make it as seamless as possible, easy for them to get to that goal that they have, so that they can do the right thing, which is purchasing your program or getting to their ultimate dream destination of who they want to be as a person, that idealized self. And maybe you also don't provide any immediate results. If I gotta wait 3 weeks to see any kind of result, I'm probably not gonna do it. Then you get occupied by other things that are evolutionarily pressuring me to, handle life. Bills coming, phone ringing, somebody gets sick, I gotta travel, blah, blah, blah. The weather changes, new series starts on Netflix. Whatever happens, I'm gonna get preoccupied by that. So you gotta make it easy for them to do the right thing and show them an immediate result when they're trying to do that thing. Without an immediate result, people are going to fall off left and right. Next one, of course, once you've converted the client, it's the reoccurring client relationship. People that don't leave you, that stick around. It's not one and done. They don't try your stuff and then want a refund. They don't try your stuff and then peace out. People are afraid of that. Companies go under because of that. BlackBerry doesn't have reoccurring clients. And a lot of movie cinemas don't have reoccurring clients. And those things are on a decline. So those businesses are in a decline, right? So how do you have reoccurring clients? The way you do is through reoccurring relationships, right? It's got to be a relationship that continues. Clients, maybe you have clients that don't listen. So you don't know how to get your clients to listen to you. They show up for your training and they do whatever they want to do, or they don't show up at all, or they don't respect the schedule, or they don't follow through with appointments, or they don't follow through with their homework. Your clients don't listen. You know how they want to be right all the time. If you can't get your clients to listen, then you're disservicing them as a coach or as a consultant. You're disservicing them. You got to get them to listen. You got to frame the relationship in certain ways. You got to do whatever it takes to get them to follow through and pay attention. Because maybe your clients aren't really that coachable. Maybe you've done everything wrong up until now. You got to this point and you didn't train your client or teach your client how to be coachable. So they're not actually a student. They're just somebody who's paying you money and they want you to do something for them. So they are your boss, but that doesn't work. That relationship doesn't work. They have to come as a student ready to learn and put themselves in that frame. So maybe you've messed up that frame up to this point and then you get here and then you lose a lot of people. Another thing that you could be doing is you have a lack of expansion skill sets. You don't know how to build a team. You don't know how to scale. You don't know how to automate certain things. You don't have those processes. You're stuck doing the work. You're stuck in small things that don't matter, like doing graphic design or silly stuff like that. You don't know how to pre-sell. You don't know how to frame your content in a way that gets people involved and want to do more with you in the future. Your content is only good for one time done. Your content is not good for continuing to grow. You don't know how to pre-sell in your content, in your videos, your Instagram, or in your Facebook, or in your blog post, or at your events. You don't know how to pre-sell. You never thought about that. You don't have any public speaking skills, maybe. You've never worked on that. And now you're seeing the lack of it, and you're seeing the result of that lack of it. And it can also be you don't have a client journey. You have a poor client journey. So your client's understanding is that they were going to come to you one time and then never have a reason to see you again. There's nothing that you could help them with in their life after that. But let me ask you a question. Have you stopped living? If you have not stopped living, you've continued after your initial problem, that you've continued on that journey, there's things that you can show somebody on that continuing journey if you have done it for yourself, okay? So this is everything that I think is necessary, the major roadblocks in getting to 5 figures a month, coaching people to help other people, right? Once you get these things down, then you start moving into 6-figure a month territory, okay? And that's where you got to build systems and automate things, and you got to build a team and all these other things. But that's when you get there, you learn how to do your first hire, you learn how to manage people remotely, all those things, okay? So this is the knowledge of the outline of the first part. This is where the what was wrong. Today I showed you the problems, I showed you what was wrong, I showed you the lack of skill set, I showed you some of the beliefs that might be holding you back. But now let's talk about what to do, the how, and me keeping you accountable through that journey. Let's talk about me making sure that you're coachable. When you make more money, you can spend more money on more coaches to make more money, spend more money on more mentors to make more money. And it just goes up and up and up, because you're not going to learn from anybody on the same skill set of you. All right. You got to learn from people that have already walked that path and that are ahead of you, and have relationships with those people. Okay. And get help. Don't spend your time spinning your wheels trying to do it by yourself. Get help. Get mentored on it. The best coaches in the world all have coaches. Myself, even, I spend $30K a year on coaches. I have a mindset coach that helps me with the psychology and therapy stuff. I have a business coach that I pay $5K to every quarter. And then I have a fitness coach that I have at the gym, okay? So best people in the world have coaches. And that's because they realize that it's going to save them what? Time and money. You want people to sign up with you. You want people to be your client. You want people to be your student, right? You want them to believe in the idea of coaches and mentors, but you won't get one yourself. How much sense does that make? You got to get one yourself. You can't convince people to do it if you're not doing it yourself. You don't truly believe in it. And I truly believe in it. Ask yourself what you're missing here. Ask yourself where you're falling off. Ask yourself what's the biggest hurdle for you. And yeah, that's it.